Hey all, Heretic here. Patch 29.2 drops on April 16th. That is coming up very soon, a week from now, and I am excited and ready to look into everything that's changing for the Battlegrounds. Now, there's a lot of information here, so I'm going to dive into a lot of things. I'm going to try to keep it concise, but at the same time, if there's something fun to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. There's going to be chapters, so you can look wherever you need for all the information you want specifically, but if you want it all, there's going to be a lot of it, so let's jump right in. First, we have Duos. Duos is the complete new mode that's dropping. Duos is going to have its own queue system. When you go over to that system and you click on that, that is going to give you a completely different rating. You can either queue with a friend or you could queue with a random person, which you will communicate via a form of, various emotes and whatnot. I encourage you to queue with friends for the best experience, but still, if you're feeling adventurous and want to jump in, go right ahead, have a good time with that. Now, this mode is going to be very different. You're going to have the whole thing where your combats will involve you and your teammates. For 1 gold, you can pass a card from your hand, not from your board, but from your hand to a teammate. There will be various spells, hero powers that allow you to pass cards from the shop or from your board after you play them, but typically it can only be played from your hand through the trade window. Now, when you do that, they're going to get that card and use it in any way they want to. So you really need to coordinate with your teammate. If you're going to be buffing the shops, you're going to be giving them a card that will super fit their build, they need to know that's coming and that you have it. And if they have something you want, they need to be able to let you know, hey, you want this, make room for this, throw it over there. Now, from what I understand, if someone passes a card to you and your hand is full, it is going to act like a spellcraft card. It will queue, and once there's room in your hand, it will appear. So keep that in mind. You're not going to throw cards away, but you might have to get them in a weird order and play some cards out of your hand to make room for the cards you need to be traded. But that's a good problem because you got a full hand and you're doing pretty well because you have a lot of resources. This mode is going to be interesting with unique minions, unique heroes, and since now we know it is a complete separate queue, I am rather excited for this mode as something different I can do with my audience in a different mode to play this game that I love to play in. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of things Battlegrounds Duos, and we'll be covering a lot more of that in other videos in the time to come, but that is the overview for now. We are now transitioning from Season 6 to Season 7. Your MMR will be reset back to 0. You will be back to the climb. Your season pass is going to be reset. You'll have to purchase all that over again if you want the 4 hero choices, but that means you get a whole bunch of new rewards. So there's new things to look forward to for it. I'm excited. I always like the new rewards. It's just some fun cosmetics we're going to get. Yeah, I'm going to get the 2nd hero because I want hero 3 and 4. I'm insane. I like having variety. That way, maybe I can get a good hero and a good hero who's actually fun to play as opposed to just probably 2 bad heroes and be really grumpy with my game. Let's start with some hero changes, and in this case, a new hero arriving. We have Cho and we also have Gaul. Now, both these heroes are going to have 6 armor, and their passes, whenever you play a golden minion, both you and Gaul get a triple reward. So that means if you triple, then you play that card, I'm going to get the reward too. So we definitely want to stagger when those are going to happen. Maybe you want a tier and take a higher card while I stay down and try to go a little more tempo so we can win fights. But either way, Cho and Gaul will obviously work really well together in duos only, of course, but I think they're going to be really powerful, and I'm really looking forward to getting some Cho Gaul games in. The nameless one, armor 12 to start at least, passive start of game, copy your teammate's hero power. Now, that is pretty cool because basically when you pick this, if you're communicating, especially on a voice system like a Discord or the Blizzard in-game system, if you use that still, you're going to know what they're going to pick. So you're also going to get it. Both playing trade prints, both playing something that's synergistic in any way like that, you're just going to have fun. It'll be really interesting to see how this hero plays out. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Forbiddeness Floop, armor 15, 0 gold, choose a minion, start of combat, transform it into your teammate's highest tier minion. Now, this is one of those hero powers that doesn't really look good, but it's free and it's start of combat. You've already chosen a minion. If you don't choose a minion, it's not going to change into your teammate's highest tier minion. So you know if it's going to be synergistic in a if it works in combat. And if it doesn't, later just change your hero power with that spell. Don't worry about it. Just get rid of this thing if it doesn't work out. This one could have some fun interactions and it could be useful. And it also could just kind of be a trap hero power. I think that's why it's sitting at 15 armor to start. Madame Goya, 8 armor, 2 gold, pass a non-golden minion. This is a pretty big deal. You can target the shop. You can target a card you've already played, obviously. just 2 gold, pass it. That's pretty awesome. And I'm assuming over the usual limit of 1 pass per turn. So now you're going to get 2 passes per turn. Mind you, I haven't played it. It's an assumption, but it makes sense. The hero power doesn't seem like it'd be very good if you could only pass 1 card a turn and then you get a hero power that lets you get it at a different rate. It costs more, it feels not as good. And of course, the new heroes will be offered in every Battlegrounds duo game for the first 2 weeks after the patch. So you're going to see a lot of these new heroes. Get ready. Next, we have some hero pool updates. So these are heroes that are either going to be in or out depending on some conditions, and let's look at those. Murloc Holmes is not part of the hero pool for Battlegrounds duos. Dev comment, his hero power leads to frustrating gameplay with team systems. Yes, because you're not just trying to figure out which card this might fit on 1 board, you're trying to figure out on 2 boards. So there's a lot of room for ambiguity. I think this is a good change. Let's take him out for this one. It's not worth it. Build in Storm Rage is banned from Dragon games across all Battlegrounds. I'm not sure why. I can come up with some theories about some cards, but we'll see. Sire Denathras and ETC Band Manager have been temporarily removed from the hero pool for all Battlegrounds games. Now, I don't know if that's just to simplify the games as to take away these extra mechanics, but at the same time, looks like they're leaving in Ticketus. So, I mean, that mechanic is still there. Maybe they just don't want to deal with buddies with duos to start, and that would be the obvious reason to me, but who knows? Professor Putricide has been temporarily removed from the hero pool for Battleground duos. I'm going to assume this is still something to do with his hero power, that he can make cards that generate, money and just some real shenanigans, and they don't want to deal with that in duos, but maybe it's a bug issue too. Who knows? We have some hero effect updates too. Thorum Stormlord passive at the start of the game, discover a tier 7 minion to get after you spend 65 gold. In this case, Argent Braggart has been removed from the discoverable options. Additionally, now Papa Bear summons 3 4/4 Mama Bears that give 4/4. Mama Bear herself is not in the minion pool. So that's just for people who don't know what Mama Bear is. It's a 4/4 summoning 4/4s, and Papa Bear's doing their thing. So not exciting, just Braggart's gone because it's either amazing or utterly useless, and Papa Bear's been changed to hair because of the Mama Bear issue. Malagos is just kind of a slight change, but it's important. 0 gold, replace a card with a random one of the same tavern tier twice per turn. This is because before you couldn't target spells, now you can target spells. I like this change a lot. Captain Hook Tusk, 0 gold, remove a minion, discover 1 from a tier lower to get it. And what this means is you're going to be using the normal discover rules. Previously, you discovered from 2, now you'll discover from 3 again. Next, we have Patchwork. Patchwork is passive, start with an extra 30 health. This is just a text-only change for duos. It is functionally the exact same hero power. The Great Akazamorak. Got hit with a great nerf bat, I would say. 0 gold, choose a secret, put it into the battlefield. Dev comment, instead of a discover from a pool, it will now always be a choice from the same 4 secrets. Venom Strike Trap, Tactics, Auto Defense Matrix, and Redemption. Street Magician, Akazamorak's buddy, will use the same pool for its random secrets. Ice Block has been removed from the Battlegrounds entirely. Big sad. I really don't like this change. This makes me never want to play Akazamorak. It's not only just because of that. I liked some of the other secrets, like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem as fun. They need to change the secrets, it feels like to me. Dino Tamer Bran, passive after you buy 4 Battle Cries, get a Bran Bronzebeard once per game. It used to be 5. Very good change if you like playing Bran, because sometimes 5 Battle Cries takes a while. I mean, sometimes it takes a turn, but sometimes it takes you 5 or 6 turns. So this is a good change. New minion time. We've got a lot of new minions, so let's jump into this. First, we have the tier 2 4/2 Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to all minions. This is a neutral Fire Dancer. Not a bad card. Dealing damage to all minions means your opponent and yours, so it's going to wipe out some weird stuff. Definitely be careful when you put this on your board, because you might blow up your own stuff. You might knock out your own Divine Shields, but still interesting card. At tier 4, we have Assistant Guard, 2/3 Battlecry. Give a minion taunt, then give your taunt minions +2/+3. Hey, do you like giving your minions taunt? Do you like them to then have more stats? It's a pretty damn good card. I'm always looking for ways to give taunt, so I'm happy with this. Winged Chimera, tier 4, all tribes. 3/6, whenever this takes damage, give a friendly minion of each type +2/+1. Well, that's going to buff itself also because it says friendly minions. It doesn't say other minions. So this thing is going to get bigger whenever this takes damage. If it survives, I like that a lot. True, it's an in-combat buff, so it's temporary depending, you know, what other cards you have going on, but this is still a neat card, and I'm looking forward to see how it plays out. Now we have the Moon Eater's Champion. This is a tier 5 neutral, 7/8 after you play an odd tier card, give your odd tier minions +1/+1. This is an interesting experiment they're working on. I kind of like the idea behind this. Obviously, it's a slow way to cycle cards and gain stats, but if you have a brand and you know you have a bunch of odd cards when you find this, kind of cool. It's gonna buff brand. Just throw it out there, buff all your cards. There's definitely some fun shenanigans you can get going with this card. I think it will be interesting to see how it works. Next, we have the Unforgiving Treant, tier 5 neutral, 112 taunt. Whenever this takes damage, give your minions +1 attack permanently. I mean, I do like it's buffing the attack of my entire board, but it's a tier 5 and it's only 1. And that feels like it won't be much attack late. I mean, if you triple it into it early enough, yeah, you're buffing your attack, but how many of those other minions are you going to keep? It is decent tempo, but there's better tier 5s I feel like I'd rather find. That doesn't mean it won't work. Looking at it on the cuff, I don't love it. Next, we have Greymane's Champion, tier 6, 6/5 after you play an even tier card, give your other even tier minions +2/+2. Once again, the same kind of experiment as the Moon Eater, except now we're buffing even cards. Could be a lot of fun, could be interesting to see how it works. Could be a complete trap garbage card, but I like Menagerie and weird little things like this, so this could be very interesting. Next, we have Murgle Mark II, tier 3 Mech Murloc, 2/4 Avenge 3, give minions in your hand and board +1/+1 permanently. Now it's a permanent stat buff, which is nice. It's health and attack. It's at tier 3 itself. And it's a Murloc and a mech, so you can give it Divine Shield. There's ways to finagle Venom onto this thing. I think this is a big deal. I think this will be a powerful card. I think in the mid game, this is nice stats, good effects. I'm interested to see how it works out. I think this will be a great card for Murlocs. Maybe not so much for mech boards, but definitely Murloc boards. Next, we have Time Cap'n Hooktail, tier 3 Dragon Pirate, 1/5. Whenever you cast a Tavern spell, give your other minions +1 attack. It's tier 3, it's not buffing itself, but it's buffing your other minions for Tavern Spells. It could be interesting. I must say, I am in no way excited just glancing at it, but maybe I'm not seeing the full potential of this card. But at a glance, I'm not loving it. Next, we have the Slimy Fellblood, tier 3 Elemental Demon, 3/4 Battlecry. Minions in the tavern have +2 health this game. Throw this thing out there, buff your tavern forever. That's pretty awesome. Get a Rylac, get a Bran, you know, all the different ways you can make these buffs more disgusting and multiplied. This will be an interesting card to see how it plays out and affects the game. Then on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Fiery Fellblood, a tier 3 Elemental Demon, 4/3 Death Rattle. Minions in the tavern have +3 attack this game. Well, it's a Death Rattle. You just leave it on the board. You don't have to do anything fancy. Maybe just keep it there for 2 or 3 turns. It's got a decent stat line. It's gonna do a huge buff to your shop for the rest of the game. I think it's pretty cool. Next, we have Shellamental, the tier 5 Elemental Naga. 5/4 Spellcraft, choose a minion in the tavern, give its stats to a random friendly minion. I mean, it's Spellcraft, so it's not permanent, but you can do some real shenanigans with this stuff, and it is going to be a big deal, because if you have a big minion, you put its stats in the shop and then you consume those stats. They're now permanent, and you could definitely build some really big minions and get away with this. So this thing will be very impactful in the later game. Draconic Death Scale, tier 4 Naga Dragon, 6/3 Spellcraft, trigger a friendly minion's battle cry. Now, there are going to be times where this is useless and it's garbage, but there's going to be times where you're going to be cycling looking to find a way to trigger a battle cry or find a specific battle cry card you already have but you want more of. At least now you can trigger it. This is a big deal. This card will be very good when you want to use it, and when it's not, just pass it. Nightbane Ignited, tier 4 Dragon Undead, 6/3 Taunt Death Rattle, give 2 friendly minions this minion's attack. So, I mean, it's going to be random, but you're giving that random attack to people, and it's going to be a decent amount. This will be interesting to see how it plays out. I think with some of the onboard buffing we're going to be doing with dragons during combat, some of that being permanent, this will be a very good card. We're going to wait and see, but I'm excited to see this card in play. Now we have the tier 6 Untamable Bull Mech Beast, 1016. Whenever this takes damage, gain Divine Shield. Well, it's already a big body at a 1016. It's a mech, so you're going to be able to attach stats to it. It's a beast. It's going to get buffed. And again, Divine Shield. You triple into this thing, and it is a tank. It will do a lot of damage to your opponent in the early game. Trusty Pup, tier 1 Beast. Whenever this takes damage, gain 1 attack permanently. I mean, it's cute. It's tier 1. It's going to take damage. It's going to gain 1 attack permanently. You're not going to keep it on your board forever, but for tier 1, it's serviceable. Irate Rooster, tier 2 Beast, 3/4, start of combat, deal 1 damage to an adjacent minion, give them +4 attack. And as you can see, there's a lot of minions that are going to be doing damage to minions. There's going to be a lot of minions that are going to be benefiting from damage being done to them. If you can target with this damage, you are going to get big value out of it. I think Irate Rooster is going to be a big deal, especially at tier 2. That targeted damage could be really useful. Tier 2 Beast, Silver Goose, 2/3. Whenever this takes damage, summon a 2/2 Fledgling with Taunt. Is this broken? No. It's a simple beast card that summons a 2/2 with Taunt, potentially multiples of them as it gets buffed. I think this is just a good card. This is just a good utility tier 2 card. Next, we have the Slithid Burrower, tier 3 Beast, 3/1, Taunt, Death Rattle, give your beasts +1/+1 permanently. I mean, there you go. It died. Your beast all get a 1/1 buff. Is it crazy? No. Is it good for tier 3? Yeah, kind of decent. Speaking of good at tier 3, Rampager, tier 3 Beast, 8/8. Whenever this attacks, deal 1 damage to your other minions. Well, it's on back. Who knows? Maybe you give this thing taunt. It's a big body early. You triple into this thing. It's just a chunky minion. Yeah, it'll damage your own minions, but it doesn't attack. If it just takes punches or you wait to attack till the very end with it, this thing can be really good. Golden Shell Warden, tier 4 Beast, 3/4, Battlecry, give your other beasts +1/+4. Not really interested. Just meh. Is it? I mean, it's a Battlecry beast, which we don't have many of them, but I just don't care about this card that much. I mean, there might be some ways we can get shenanigans going with it, but at the glance, it's a tier 4 that's very vanilla, not interesting at all. Now let's get broken a bit. Iridescent Skyblazer, tier 4 Beast, 2/5. Whenever a friendly beast takes damage, give a friendly beast other than it +1/+1 permanently. Do you have a bunch of cards that are randomly damaging your whole board? Does that mean you're randomly going to be throwing 1/1 buffs everywhere permanently? Does that not seem like you can get out of control incredibly fast at tier 4? This card looks incredibly good. This is like Banana Slamma sitting at tier 4 good. Like, hello? This isn't going to stay at tier 4. I think this is going to move up to a 5. It's not going to be good at a 6, that's for sure, but I think it's way too good for tier 4. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is too good. Trigor the Lasher, tier 5 Beast, 6/2. Whenever a friendly beast takes damage, gain +2 health permanently. I mean, it's not exciting. It's only got 6 attack, but as you can see, there's a lot of ways to buff your stats all over the place with beasts. So it's hard to say if this is going to end up being good. It certainly looks interesting. I'm not excited about this card, but let's wait and see what it does. Fight Savior, tier 5 Beast, 12/4, Taunt, Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to your minions and give them 1 health. Well, hold on a second. We have a bunch of cards that, when my minions take damage, buff a lot of things. And then we have a card that is going to damage everything and then immediately heal it. Seems like a really good combo that might work incredibly well. Get used to seeing this on the board. Next, we have the False Implicator, a tier 3 demon, 1/2, end of turn, consume a minion in the tavern to gain its stats. Simple, effective. The 1/2 stat line, not impressive, but it's immediately going to eat something in the shop. And if you start buffing that shop, it can be decent. This isn't the kind of card that's going to stay on your board for any length of time, right? It's going to be there for a few turns. If you get in the late game, you'll probably be kicking this long before, but I can see games where it sticks around if it gets big enough early enough. The Crafty Aranasi, or however you say it. Tier 4 Demon, 1/8. Whenever this takes damage, deal 5 damage to a random enemy minion. So if you have a lot of minions that do low damage to your board, you can nuke your opponent before the game starts. I mean, before the turn. Think about it. You could have like 3 or 4 triggers that deal 1 damage to all your minions, which would kill some of your minions, but conversely would then do 5 damage a bunch of times to your opponent too, which would probably kill a bunch of their minions. In the late game, do you want this? No, it's like Lighter Fighter against a giant elemental board. You're just slamming your head against a wall. You're not going to kill anything. In the mid game, the early game, that could be pretty significant in the right build. This is a fun kind of, random juggling build where you're just trying to snipe your opponent's minions that matter. If they're weak, just killing their whole board. Misfit Dragonling, tier 1 dragon, 1/2 start of combat. Gain stats equal to your tier. Simple, scales. Not much to worry about with this card. This is a good tier 1 card. Your tier 1, it gets a 1/1 buff. Tier 2, tier 2 buff. And so on and so forth. It just keeps getting bigger. You're gonna keep this forever? Probably not. But does the job. Grim Guardian, tier 1 dragon. If the artwork from this looks familiar, you're not wrong. This is the living version of it. The original artwork was of an undead blue dragon, if I remember right. This is a 1/3. Whenever this attacks, gain +2/+1. Dove Carment, look at this. This is a redesign of an updated art piece for Glyph Guardian, which had, look at that, an undead art, but which we wanted to keep just a dragon. Makes sense. I was looking at this thing thinking it's really familiar, and I had looked it up way before when I first saw it, and now I know, yeah, that's what I thought it was. There you go. Decent card in the early game. It's tier 1. It's going to get bigger whenever it attacks. Now it's a combat buff, so it's not permanent, but still not bad at tier 1. 1000th Paper Drake, tier 2 dragon. 2/3 start of combat. Give your leftmost dragon +1/+2 and Wind Fury. Are you excited about this early? I mean, not hugely, but if you have a Glim Guardian sitting there, and the Glim Guardian, I think I called it a Glyph Guardian the last one, sorry. If you have a Glim Guardian and it is attacking multiple times, it's buffing itself if it survives. Really, this is a great late game card. You have a big nasty dragon? Throw this thing out there. Let it Wind Fury through them. Not a bad cycle card to drop in. Next, we have the tier 3 Roaring Rallier Dragon. 3/4, whenever a friendly dragon attacks, give it +2/+2. I'm not excited about this card, but if I get it early and I have a bunch of little dragons, it's going to do the job. Late game, it'll never see my board again, but still works. Now this one's one to watch on, folks. Don't sleep on this card. Persistent Poet, tier 4 dragon. Think about all the in-combat buffs we've seen, all temporary stats, right? Don't really matter in the long term. 2/3 Divine Shield. Adjacent dragons permanently keep your enchantments from combat. So, all of those buffs you're throwing out, attack, health, whatever those might be, this thing makes them stay forever. So if you get this early enough, and if you have a bunch of dragons and they get a lot of buffs, they're going to get big really fast. It's going to make it hard to get rid of some of those dragons I just talked about that said, well, these dragons aren't really good, they don't really matter. If they've been buffed long enough, you might be keeping them. That Glim Guardian, you might still be there on turn 12 because he's so big and he's gotten all the buffs you want him to have. He's got Wind Fury. If he's got Divine Shield, who knows what else he has. He's running wild, having a good time. Yulon Fortune Granter, tier 5 dragon, 8/8, start of combat, make your lowest tier minion golden, except Yulon the Fortune Granter. This is a pretty good card. It is going to give you targeted of making a card gold on your board. Whatever the lowest tier dragon you have is, think about all cards too, in case that matters for your board. These are now going to be gold, start of combat. And if they keep their combat buffs permanently, because you have a poet, yeah, it's kind of a nasty combination. There's going to be some fun stuff we see with dragons now. Hoarding Hate Spawner, tier 6 dragon, 10/10, start of combat, steal 10/10 from the highest health enemy minion. I'm not really excited about this card. I mean, it does scale decent if it gets to retain those in combat buffs because you've got the right card next to it. But you can only have so many poets on your board. And Hoarding Hate Spawner is my tier 6 dragon. I'd rather have a Caligos if I get a bunch of other dragons. But who knows? Maybe in reality, we're going to see a huge difference and these are going to be amazing. The new meta is going to be a little slower maybe, and these will work. Next, we have the Marine Matriarch, tier 5 elemental, 3/9. Whenever this takes damage, get a random Tavern Spell up to 3 times per combat. Pretty good. Do you like Tavern Spells? You don't even need to have cards on your board that will randomly damage them. Just have them run into things and take damage too. But if you've also got ways to trigger extra charges out of this for extra spells, decent value out of a tier 5. Next, we have the Cord Puller, tier 1 mech, 1/1 Divine Shield, Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Microbot. Is this amazing? No. Is it good for tier 1? Yeah, happy with that. Next, we have Ziliax Claw Module, tier 2 mech. There's some caveats with this stuff. So this is a 4/3 taunt minion that can triple with any Ziliax module. Dev comment is important here. Each different Ziliax module has an appearance rate of 1/3 that of a regular tier 2 minion. So not as many in the pool, but any combination of 3 modules will combine into a golden Zilliax assembled, which is all the keywords of the modules used as the component. So there's less of them, but any 3 of them will combine into the triple golden Zilliax, which is pretty cool. Now, of the different versions of it, we have one that gives taunt, we have one that gives reborn, we have a divine shield one, and we have a stealth one. Wind Fury, magnetic. So as you can see, we get a good variety of the things that our Zilliax triples will be doing. It's gonna be fun to see what this does. Charging Zarina, I'm gonna say Zarina, tier 5 mech, 4/2 divine shield. Whenever you cast a tavern spell, give your minions with divine shield +3 attack. You have a bunch of mechs, they have a bunch of divine shields. Do you want extra attack? We'll see what late game mech boards look like. In the previous meta, I wouldn't want this, but in this one, it might be good. Very Hungry Winter Finner, tier 2 Murloc, 2/5 taunt. Whenever this takes damage, give a minion in your hand, +1/+1. Hey, Murlocs like buffing things in their hand. That's what this does. Not bad, it doesn't have to survive the damage, so worst case scenario, you're getting a 1/1 buff. Interesting card. Shell Whistler, tier 3 Naga, 3/2 Battlecry, get a random tavern spell from Tavern tier 2. This one's pretty cool. Always happy to cycle this, just throw it down, get a tavern spell. Yeah, it's a 2, but who cares, because it's just taking a tier 3 minion anyways. If you happen to have a way to double those battle cries or trigger it extra times for free, why not? This is going to be a neat card. Soft-Hearted Siren, tier 4 Naga, 3/6. Whenever this takes damage, get a random spellcraft spell 3 times per combat. Once again, random spells. They're spellcraft in this case, so their use case is a little different depending what tier you're at, which ones you have access to, but still pretty cool. I like this a lot. The Long John Kappa, tier 4 Pirate, 4/6. Whenever this takes damage, get a gold coin 3 times per turn. You see a pattern on the type of cards we have here, folks. You're getting gold coins, not bad. Just make sure you have room in your hand for it if you think it's going to survive that long. Bristling Buffoon, the tier 3 Quillbore, 3/4. Whenever this takes damage, get a blood gem 3 times per turn. Pokey Thornmantle, tier 6 Quillbore, 4/5. At the end of your turn, your blood gems give an extra +1/+1 this game. This is an end of turn effect, permanently buffing your blood gems. Yeah, it's tier 6, but if you can increase the rate at which end of turn triggers, get multiple of these, triple it, your blood gems can get out of control really quick. It's a cool card. I'm really happy to see tier 6 Quillbores get something a little more viable. Hateful Hag comes in at tier 3 Undead, 4/2. Whenever this attacks, give the minion to the right of this reborn. Now this is a big deal, this card, I feel, because it doesn't stipulate any tribe. It just says the minion to the right of this reborn. That's targeted reborn on something that normally might not have reborn ever, which can lead to some real shenanigans. There's some cards coming back you'll hear about later, and some cards you've already seen where you can think, if I attach reborn to this, I'm getting a lot more value. This Hateful Hag will find itself, especially in the mid game, in a lot of boards, just hanging around, sitting next to weird friends. The Uninvited Guest, tier 6 Undead, 3/2, start of combat, give your other minions Death Rattle, summon a 3/2 Shadow. This is also an undead minion, so if you've buffed your aura up a little bit, you don't have quite a lot of summons, or you just want even more summons, throw this thing out there and you're getting some decent value. This is a cool card, I think, for late game Undead. It's not super exciting, but if you don't have enough summons, it's definitely going to help you get there. Next, we have some new minions that are for duos only. Only duos, these minions. So let's talk about those. We have the tier 1 Passenger. This is a 2/3. The first time your team passes each turn, gain +2/+2. Sits on your board, you pass a card, it gets +2/+2. Pretty cool. Next, we have Wanderer Cho, tier 2, 4/3. 1 pass each turn is free. Pretty easy to figure out the value there, folks. 1 pass free, that's good in my book. Friendly Saloon Keeper, tier 2, 3/4 Battlecry. Your teammate gets a golden coin. Hold on. It's a 3/4 body. It's going to give my teammate a gold coin. It seems like crazy value. This is essentially, it's a 3 gold for me, but it's really only 2 because my opponent gets a gold, and then I sell it, so it really only costs 1 in the long term. Do you have a brand? It's free. Really can't beat this card. This is pretty cool at tier 2 as a 3/4. You're going to see this on a lot of duos. Generous Geomancer, the tier 2 Quillbore, 2/1 Death Rattle. You and your teammate each get a blood gem. Good, right? It's a 2/1, which is not a great stat, but you're going to give a blood gem, a 1/1 buff base to you and your teammate every time it dies. That's pretty good. Huddle Prancer, the tier 3 Murloc who's adorable. 3/3 after this is passed, gain +3/+3. Pass it to your teammate. Yeah, it costs 4 gold. It's a 6/6. Orchestra Conductor, tier 3, 2/2, give a minion +2/+2. Improve your team's future orchestra conductors. So how many people do you think are going to be trying to make this work? Like, hey, let's stay on tier 2 and let's just throw out orchestra conductors. Maybe we go to 4, we triple into a brand. Oh wait, my teammate's playing brand? Okay, we stay down. I'm playing Reno. He passes me his brand. I hero power the brand, and then we play all the orchestra conductors we can and win the game. Theoretical? Yes. Probably just a fun meme build, but when it works, it'll be good. Plunderer Pal, tier 3 pirate, 2/2. At the start of your turn, you and your teammate each gain 1 gold. It's only a 2/2, but it's 3 gold to buy, and it's going to give you and your teammate 1 gold each. It means in 2 turns, you're gold positive on this thing. I like this card already. Doting Drakthir, tier 3 dragon, 4/3. At the end of your turn, give your teammates minions +1 attack. I mean, it's a 4/3 body, which is good. Then it buffs their whole board, 1 attack. I'm not excited about this card, but not bad either. Considering some low tier minions, you might want to swap one out for this. Mirror Monster, tier 4, all, 4/4. When you buy or discover this, get an extra copy and pass it. So this card will be relatively easy to triple, I would think, since you're buying them and you're each getting a copy of it. And if you discover it, even better, you can get some early triples off this kind of stuff. And I think there's some real potential for this card as some shenanigans making there. And it's all, so that means you can stick a lot of different buffs on this thing. Brave Narrator, tier 4 undead, 2/7, avenge 3. Your teammate gets a random minion of your most common type. This is going to be fan-damn-tastic, folks. Here's why. I'm going to play undead. I'm going to take all the little swarmy dead minions that don't do a damn thing. I don't even care if I have a Nubrak in the mid game. And I am going to feed my opponent, whatever he is, exactly the minions from the tribe he needs. Not the exact minions, but from his tribe. That is huge. This is going to be a very powerful card. I can even see this being nerfed because there's so many undead summons. I think it might end up as an Avenge 4 because that's usually where these cards end up. I think an Avenge 3 is way too good. Wait and see, but I got a sneaky suspicion. Storm Splitter, tier 4 Naga, 5/5. Once per turn after you pass a Tavern spell, get a new copy of it. We can just keep passing a card back and forth if we bought it once. Let's say you buy a card that makes a minion gold, 5 gold, right? You pass it. And it costs 6 gold. Oh wait, get an extra copy of it. Don't play it. Hang on to that. Next turn, pass it back again. Oh look, a free one. Just keep passing it back. If this is going to stay on your board, could just keep passing it. Yeah, the temptation to just use it and enjoy it is going to be there, of course. But if you're far enough ahead and you really want to start kicking some ass, some real shenanigans you can get going with this card. I like this a lot. Next, we have Minari Messenger, tier 4 demon, 7/4 battlecry. Minions in your team's tavern have +2/+1 this game. So it's your team's tavern. First of all, you're getting a 7/4 body, which isn't bad. You're buffing your tavern and your teammate's tavern. This is a great card. Buy this card, play this card, make your teammate happy, make your opponents cry, win. Feisty Freshwater, tier 4 elemental, 6/4 death rattle. You and your teammate each gain 2 refreshes, cost 0. Folks, it's gonna give you free refreshes when it dies. Give this thing taunt, sit it in the back of your board, sit it wherever you want, just make sure it dies and you're getting extra refreshes. Yeah, there's gonna be better elementals later, but the economy on this is pretty big since it's 2 refreshes for you and your teammate. If you triple it, 4 each, it's ridiculous. Magnamus, a tier 4 beast, 5/2 death rattle. Summon a copy of a minion from your teammate's warband. Set its health to 1, except Magnamus. We don't want an infinite combo. This is kind of cool. I mean, if you know what your opponent has going on, you can get some fun shenanigans if you're both doing death rattly stuff. Yeah, you can't copy each other's Magnamus, but if you're both playing beasts, you can do some fun stuff with this. Well-Wisher, tier 5, 6/6 spellcraft, past a different non-golden minion. Pretty awesome. It's a spellcraft that gives you a passing cards, so you're going to get to move stuff around at just free every turn if you keep it. I don't think you'll keep this on your board very long because it's no type. You can't really buff it easily unless you're doing the odd build, but kind of cool. I see some potential. Next, we have the support system, tier 5 mech, 4/5. At the end of your turn, give a minion in your teammate's warband Divine Shield. Still don't love this card. I know a lot of people think this is going to be really good, but it doesn't have Divine Shield built into it. It gives a random minion on your opponent's board Divine Shield, not even targeted. Yeah, it's a mech, so you can give it Divine Shield, but there's so many things I feel like I'd rather have on my board, but there might be scenarios where this is really good too, so wait and see. Sandy, tier 7, 1/1, start of combat, transform into a copy of your teammate's highest health minion. If you built a ridiculous, whatever, Divine Shield, Wind Fury, Cleave, to 600 health, now I got one too. It's tier 7 for a reason, folks. This card is way too good. Copying whatever you have, you build a monster. Now I've got a monster. Yeah, if we're sitting here and you're doing a Goldrin style Death Rattle build, this isn't too hot. But if you're building a giant elemental, Murloc, Naga board, thing's gonna be fantastic. This is a pretty cool card. Minion pool update. Now this is where I usually give you the animation where I flash all the cards leaving up on the screen. But folks, there's 63 of these things, and I'm already almost an hour into recording, and editing that will take an additional 30 minutes just to throw all those cards out there. So let me just read you again the cards leaving the pool, and you'll have to forgive me for not putting images of all of these up here, because some of these cards are going to be forgettable, and you're going to be like, what are these? But here we go. Beleaguered Battler, Yrel, Strong Shell Scavenger, Rendell the Mastermind. I feel like there should be sad music playing in the background here. Menagerie Jug, Saloon Dancer, Living Consolation, The Walking Fort, Motley Phalanx, Mad Matador, Manted Queen, Cogwork Copter, Hunter of Gatherers, Legion Overseer, Elemental, oh good, Emergent Flame, Silent Swimmer, Sore Loser, Hawkstrutter Herald, Good Riddance, Dancing Barnstormer, Mana Saber, Hungry Snapjaw, Sewer Rat, Hummingbird, Free Flying Feathermane, Eagle, Mystic Sporebat, Mama Bear, Banana Slammer, Dreadbeard, Imprisoner, Upbeat Front Drake, Twilight Emissary, Emerald Proto Drake, Bronze Sandspewer, Outback Smolderer, Sandstone Drake, Blackish Feldrake, Razorgore the Untamed, Nether Drake, Warpwing, Ignition Specialist, Master of Realities, Micro Mummy, and it's still going on, Lighter Fighter, Kangor's Apprentice, Omega Buster, Mercules, Wayward Grimscales. Have you ever wanted me to read you the phone book? Maybe I should say them slower. Belfin Navigator, Shmer the Vengeful, Critter Wrangler, Surf and Surf, South Sea Busker, Greta Goldgun, Bloodsail Cannoneer. Now we see who listens to all of this. Audacious Anchor, Briarback Bookie, Bristleback Knight, the Paint Smudger, the Corpse Refiner, Steadfast Spirit, and the Grave Gobbler. Those are all the minions leaving. And that was a lot to just say, let alone edit you all their pictures. So there you go. Same rule applies to the returning minions. I'll probably throw the image of these up there, to be honest with you. Reef Explorer, Leroy the Reckless, Magmalock, Octosauri Rap God, Kindly Grandmother, Backstage Security, Terragosa, Prized Promo Drake, Molten Rock, Scourfin, Heedless Hoarder, Mini Myrmidon, Deck Swabby, Defiant Shipwright, and Gem Smuggler are all coming back. Oh wait, maybe I don't have to show you all the images, because for some bizarre reason, after they give me them, here they are. These are minions being updated. So any minion in that list I just gave you that is being updated, you won't see a picture for, and now you'll know why. We have the Kindly Grandmother, Tier 1 Beast, 1/1 Death Rattle, summon a 3/2 Big Bad Wolf, also a beast. Octosauri Rat God, Tier 5 Beast, 5/6 Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 Tentacle. It gains +2/+2 after you summon a minion in combat. And now we know why, when they initially announced Wrathweaver, why he changed, because the normal one is exactly the same. He is after you, a Tier 1, 1/4 neutral, but for demons, after you play a demon, deal 1 damage to your hero, gain +2/+1. But if he's gold, after you play a demon, deal 1 damage to your hero and gain +2/+1 twice. So there's a little difference there in just how it works when it was gold. When they initially released it, they didn't give any information about the gold one, they just showed the normal one, so I was kind of confused why he was included. Now we know. Malkador, Prince of Dance, Tier 3 Demon, 4/3, 2 refreshes each turn, cost health instead of gold. Just a different tier, that's all. Next we have Backstage Security, Tier 1 Demon. Now, the original version apparently is exactly the same. This is Tier 1, it's a 4/4 Demon. At the start of your turn, deal 1 damage to your hero, but the gold version has changed to It's an 8/8, and at the start of your turn, deal 1 damage to your hero twice. Electric Synthesizer, tier 4 dragon, 4/3 battlecry. Give your other dragons +3/+1. Slight change. Prize Promo Drake, tier 4 dragon, 5/4 start of combat. Give your other dragons +3/+3. Big change, good change, like that. Molten Rock, tier 1 elemental, 3/1. After you play an elemental, gain 1 health. This is a good card. It was at tier 2 for a while. Now it's the same thing at tier 1. So I'm interested. Well, it's got a different stat line, but effectively the same card. So we'll see how it works out. Celemental, tier 2 elemental, 3/3. When you sell this, get a 3/3 elemental. Economy just moved up a tier. Party Elemental, tier 2 elemental, 3/2. After you play an elemental, give a friendly elemental other than it +1/+1. Deep Sea Angler, tier 1 Naga, 2/2 spellcraft. Give a minion +2 health and taunt until next turn. Really good at tier 1. Shell Collector, the tier 2 Naga, 4/3 battlecry. Get a gold coin. Not add a gold coin to your hand, but get a gold coin. Wonder if that's a functionality change or just a wording change. I have to see. Dagger Spine Thrasher, tier 5 Naga, 4/8. Whenever you cast a spell, gain Divine Shield, Wind Fury, or Venomous until next turn. They moved it up a tier, nudged its stats. Defiant Shipwright, tier 2 Pirate, 2/4. Whenever this attacks, gain +1 health. Gem Smuggler, tier 5 Quillbore, 4/3 Battlecry. Play 2 blood gems on all your other minions. I mean, I'm not excited to get this card, especially if I triple into it, but it's buffing my whole board, and if your blood gems have been buffed, it can be useful. Disguised Grave Robber, tier 3 Undead, 4/4 Battlecry. Destroy a friendly undead, get a plain copy. So there's some real shenanigans potential with this, as you're destroying your own minions who may have reborn, so you're going to get a normal version on the board, but then you'll add another copy to your hand, so you can get triples out of this. I've already seen people talking about using this in conjunction with Rylak for fun shenanigans. So there's going to be some interesting things happening with this card. Keep an eye on this version of Grave Robber. Mummifier, tier 4 Undead, 5/2 Death Rattle. Give a different friendly undead reborn. Just a tier change. We have a new Tavern Spell. We only have a couple of them, but Top of the Beanstalk, tier 5, 5 gold. Discover a minion from Tavern tier 6. Hey, do you have a way to get spells cheaper? Just cards in general? Do you happen to just not have any direction at all and feel hopeless? Yeah, spend 5 gold, get a tier 6 minion. Not horrible. Eyes of the Earth Mother, tier 5, 6 gold. Choose a friendly minion from tier 4 or below. Make it gold. The targeted gold, folks. I'm always going to like that. It's expensive, but the effect is guaranteed and good, so can't complain. Recruitment Program. This is a duos only spell. Tier 2, 2 gold. Get a random minion of your teammate's most common type, then pass it. 2 gold. You're sending your opponent a minion of their most common type. That is phenomenal. This is a great spell, and if you're playing duos, you must be buying this for your opponent, for your teammate, not your opponent. We have Catch, duos only, tier 3, 2 gold. Give your minions +3 attack, upgrades by +3 attack after this is passed. Can we keep passing this? Can I pass it for like 6 turns and then give it to my mech teammate and be like, here's +18 attack? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Portal in a Bottle, duos only, tier 3, 2 gold. Pass a non-golden minion. Same with some hero powers, and another way to get a minion moved around. You've already played it, now you can pass it off your board. I like this one. We have a Tavern Spell Pool update. Brand's Blessing and Primal Staff have been removed from the Tavern Spell Pool for traditional Battlegrounds and duos. So we've already lost the Titus one a long time ago. Now we've lost the double battle cries and the double end of turn effects. I'm kind of sad by that. I didn't know about that till just now when I read this. I did like that Brand's Blessing a lot, and that Primal Staff has been useful at sometimes too, but these really did enable a lot of shenanigans. So are any of us really surprised? It's probably going to make the game healthier, but you're going to feel a lot sadder when you're playing those builds and you just can't find those key cards now that spells are gone. Some Tavern spell changes. Boon of Beetles is now tier 3, 2 gold. Whenever you have space during combat, summon a 3/3 beetle, 3 left. That's better. Before it was a death rattle, it could get in the way of things. It was an issue. Now you're getting them whenever there's space. This is definitely going to be a great spell. Fleeting Vigor, tier 3, 1 gold. Start of combat, give your minions +2/+1. Now it's your entire board you're buffing instead of 1 minion. I liked it when it was 1 minion, but the whole board's going to feel pretty good too. We have a new Battlegrounds track and season pass. This is all going to be here. There's a whole bunch of levels. There's a whole bunch of new things you're going to get access to. You're going to get 18 additional hero skins, a new bartender, and more. I don't know what any of these look like yet. I'm waiting to see, but I'm excited for them when they do come out. And once we do, I will immediately post a video showing what all of them are and what they look like, and if there's anything really super cool about that. So pay attention here for when those come out. Now we have some bug fixes we're going to take a look at. So let's talk about what is the, okay. Well, first, maybe if you like this and you want to help this channel get actually, Blizzard's attention and I can be considered an actual content creator, please hit like and subscribe and leave a comment. It really does help the channel grow, and we need this. We need this so we can finally get Blizzard's attention, and hey, who knows, maybe I can be in the next content creator thing. I can go to BlizzCon if we ever have those again. I would super love to. I love that stuff. I'm obviously passionate about the game, folks. If you could please help me get there any way you can, I appreciate it, because I've been doing this for a long time, and I definitely want to get to the finish line at some point here. All right, let's jump into the actual fixes. First, we have a general performance improvement and fixes for bugs and crashes. Now, I see a lot of these, especially with the friends list and other weird things when I'm inviting people into custom games. So I'm hoping some of these are what they're talking about. They're being vague, but that's fine. Just fix them. Dino Tamer Brand's hero power will now wait until you have hand space. Have you managed to get your Brand online and your hands full? I'm sorry, he's gone. You lost him. Now he's going to be like a spellcraft card. That's a massive change, and I have never had that happen. Had I had that happen and I wasn't streaming, I would immediately shut the game down and walk away. I would be like, oh, okay, it's going to be like that today. See you later. Fixed a bug where Plunder Seeker couldn't be played if there were only Tavern Spells in the tavern. Well, it's an expensive spell. It damn well should work, but I could see why it wouldn't work with all spells because they're so expensive, but that's a good fix. I'm happy that they fixed that. Folks, that's all the Battlegrounds specific stuff. There was a lot. Right now at recording time, I am just 30 seconds from under an hour of recording before I begin the edit. It probably won't be out for 2-3 hours if I'm lucky, so there's a lot to unpack. What do you think? Are you excited about these changes? Do you feel like the game's going in a really good place? Are you happy about duos? I am honestly excited about duos now. Now that I know I don't have to do duos, that they are a separate mode, which I wish they just said up front, I am ecstatic and I'm ready to play them every now and then with my channel and have a good time. Am I going to mainline them? No, I'm going to play my normal Battlegrounds. But I do. I never want to queue with a random person. But with a random friend from chat, why the hell not, right? Let's jump in and have a good time. All right, all, thanks for watching. I hope you had a good time. I hope to hear from you in the comments and see what you think about all these changes. Until next time, have yourself a great day. Thanks for watching. Later.